Welcome back to AM Northwest. It's early in the morning, not afternoon quite yet. You know, September is also back to school season for grown-ups too. Here to share why it's an essential time of year, really to refresh your focus at work and really ensure that everyone on the team is in sync. We welcome back strategic advisor and executive coach, Dr. Parker Walsh. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
It is kind of a thing where adults who are going back to work, maybe even just after the Labor Day holiday, but it feels like it's the end of summer and back to school for adults, even though they've been working this whole time.
Yeah. And I was saying, you know, when we were kids going back to school, even though we had great summers, like I used to smell my notebooks, and I was so excited.
I love that smell of a brand new notebook, a brand new peachy
backpack and all that cool, you know. And so, but it's not the same with adults. You know, we probably had a good summer, or maybe a crazy summer if you had kids that you had to manage all summer long.
Sure.
So when the fall hits, we're more focused on like, can I just get through the holidays?
That's true.
Right. We're already ready to cut the rest of the year off and move on. So helping your team get refocused, and just even for ourselves to get refocused, is so important so that we can really finish the year off strong.
Okay, so you say to kind of check in with everyone.
Yes.
Find out how they're feeling and like what ideas they may have moving forward.
Absolutely. So there's three things that are so important to re-energize a team, and it's not just like, you know, the goals, but it's trust, vision, and clarity. And so trust is so important because you want to just do a pulse check to see, is there trust and safety on the team for people to disagree, to share ideas, to you know, challenge the status quo. Because if you aren't able to trust the people that you're working with, it's going to slow things down, because people are going to withhold information, or if they make a mistake, they'll try to hide it, which could really cause a lot of issues. So it's really important for you just to do a pulse check, just to ask everyone, do you feel comfortable, you know, sharing information, sharing mistakes, or sharing ideas? Do you feel like they're accepted on the team and that people welcome them, or do you feel like you can't do that? And to watch out if people are silent to that question or say, no, everything is fine.
Yeah, that really tells you a lot.
It tells you a lot, because silence usually means that they're afraid to even say something about it, right? Or if they say everything is fine, I would still probe a little bit deeper, because it can really slow down progress and really impact the performance of the team.
It could mean they've given up.
It could mean they've given up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You say to reconnect to your shared vision.
Yeah, you know, it's so exciting. We don't often ask ourselves, why do I love what I do, or what energizes me about what I do, right? And so reconnecting to what it is you're doing and the impact that it's having on the community or the organization or just for yourself, it's really exciting. When I ask sometimes people that question, like, what energizes you about what you do? And they stop for a moment. They're like, that's a good question. I never really think about that. So when you reconnect back to your own vision and your passion and why you're doing what you're doing, that's the best motivation of all, because then you're self-motivated because you really love what you're doing and you're connected to what you're doing. So pull people together and have a vision huddle and talk and share what's the vision, not only of the organization, but maybe the team has a vision of being the best team that does XYZ, or the best group in the organization that's achieving their goals in a quick way. Whatever the vision that's set for the team, and even for yourself, reconnecting that to your work can really get you motivated and back on track to really try to achieve those goals that you set for yourself.
And you say to be careful of eye rolls when people are rolling their eyes.
Yes, because they're like, okay, rah-rah time, right? You know, we already know the vision. And so if people aren't motivated by that, or if you're talking about the vision and they're like, whatever, then you want to really go deeper and say, well, how does this impact your goals? Like, what do you see as a vision for yourself? So they may not find an over connection to the larger vision or the team's vision, but if you could connect it to something that they're passionate about, then that makes a difference. So you may want to take a fresh perspective on how you talk about vision and connecting vision to the work that they're doing.
Also ensuring clarity of roles and responsibilities. So back to the individual.
Absolutely. Clarity equals speed and accountability. So if there's no clarity, then people are either double dipping on the work, or people are doing the same things, or balls are being dropped because people aren't clear about what they're supposed to do.
What do you mean by double dipping on the work?
Well, because you're doing something and you're like, oh, I did that too. I didn't know that was your responsibility. I was working on that project as well. And so but people weren't clear about who had responsibility for what. So a tool I like to use is something called a RACI model, which is quite popular. It's really for everything that you're doing, think about who's responsible, who's accountable, right? So who's going to do it? Who's the accountability person to make sure that you're letting them know that you get it done?
Sure.
Who needs to be consulted, and who needs to be informed of the project?
Oh.
And if you're clear about all of those steps for every deliverable, then people have a lot of clarity so that people aren't bumping into each other or balls aren't getting dropped because no one is being responsible for something that they should be responsible for.
It'd be, you see something that needs to be done, but you go, oh no, that so-and-so is supposed to be doing that.
Exactly. And you're like, no, and you talk to them and they're like, that's not my responsibility.
Right.
So it's like, well, who's responsible for what?
That happens in every office.
It happens all the time because people aren't clear. And sometimes, you have the people who are like, that's not my job. I don't do that, right? So people who don't want to do anything, but you want to be clear about who's going to be responsible for things, because if you have a big project or if you have a big initiative, particularly, we're at the end of the year, if you have end of the year goals that you're trying to meet and people aren't clear about what their roles are or their parts are in that initiative to get it done, then you're going to struggle with really achieving it for the end of the year. So without clarity of responsibility, you're going to lose momentum, you're going to lose speed, people are going to be tripping all over each other, people won't have, you don't know who's accountable for what, so things may not get done, and then, you won't be able to achieve what you want to achieve.
All really good points. Dr. Carol Parker Walsh, always good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.